Stockholm, last week. Alvar's watch read 12:37 p.m. It was time to do this. He zipped up his padded jacket, touched his shoulder rig and the carefully rolled up ski mask on his head, and slipped out of his pickup truck. He carefully opened the tailgate and climbed up on the flatbed. He tapped the tarp, which was still strapped over the case, and crouched, motionless, to take in the view down the street. Through the thick glass of his circular spectacles, his tiny eyes analyzed the building. At a glance, the stocky guy was almost invisible in his dark clothes. Only his breath gave him away in the cold night air. From this vantage point, he could probably hit the door, which would take down the back wall of the biker bar. His mind was made up, and, still breathing out of the side of his mouth, he drew his eyes back from the building to the row of rain-soaked motorcycles glistening in front of the Damascus MC clubhouse. The last 2 weeks, things had heated up between the two motorcycle gangs that ran the city, and as far as Alvar was concerned, this wasn't revenge or just retaliation. The Damascus crew had something bigger coming. Annihilation. Alvar checked his watch. Kenny would be here in a minute, so he untied the tarp straps. Showtime, Alvar thought, and blew gently through his cupped hands, his knuckles reading Bad Bones MC. Alvar held still, eyes locked on the industrial-looking building, listening to his prey. The sounds of clinking glasses, pool balls cracking, and the deep bass of death metal music vibrating a soul-swamping danger in the darkness. Inside, the packed biker bar buzzed like a demonic pinball machine. Stockholm's dominant chapter, all ex-conscripts, laughing and drinking at ease in their military and motorcycle boots, leathers, ripped denims and greasy hair. 3 Damascus guys lined up shots, downed them swiftly, then turned to take in the commotion. Kane looked at his empty shot glass, then to his 2 sergeants at arms. "I gotta get back to the hospital," Kane said, wiping his mustache and patting his heart. "You good to step up, Anders?" "Not even a question, brother. Enjoy fatherhood again," Anders said, as the 2 clasped hands firmly. Kane grabbed his keys to leave. Anders resumed his game, the pool cue sliding back over his thumb and punching straight back, exploding into the triangle of colourful balls. Outside, Kenny lifted a huge green box on the back of the pickup and slid it to Alvar, who opened the security latches with a satisfying clunk. Alvar grinned and laughed with nervous excitement. "Is this what I read about, Kenny?" The craggy-faced South African smiled wryly, keeping an eye on Alvar as he lifted the lid to inspect the contents. "One in, one out," Alvar said, as he pushed an old brown leather suitcase with his jackboot back to Kenny. The old guy flipped the brass suitcase catches. He noted the 8 Glock 19s, the small, distinctive pistols randomly chucked in next to a clear plastic box which contained 6 neat stacks of banknotes. "What am I gonna do with these Glocks?" Kenny said. They're all tainted. Stick 'em in the crusher," Alvar replied. "All right, man," Kenny said, closing the suitcase and reaching into his reversible blue puffer to grab a cigarette from the camouflaged interior. Alvar looked back down the street again at the biker bar. Like all Swedes, he'd done national service and knew the drill. Alvar pushed his glasses up his rain-soaked face, cursing the weather, and ran his other hand over the box of projectiles. Kenny breathed out smoke as he cautioned. "Load only when you intend to fire, my friend." Alvar turned back resolutely, holding the rocket launcher casually. "This isn't about turf anymore. This is war." He picked up a projectile, inserted it, took aim at the door of his enemy, and squeezed the trigger, all without hesitation. The rocket launcher gave a short kick, followed by a soft blast of smoke. The missile tore through the air and exploded in a deafening blast, hurling fiery rubble and toppling the row of motorcycles. An instant grey transition revealed the demolished clubhouse as an angry, squint-inducing wave of dust rippled towards Alvar and Kenny.